I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further, away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all seem better outside. Just us in the sky.
To the mic.
Are we part of this circus? Is it innate?
It's a fantastic Friday here in the studios of Flashpoint, and we are here at the breakfast hour serving meal.
Coralie makes me have to start to think about what I should have been eating, what I must be eating today. I don't know. It is Friday morning, perhaps some fried dumpling with callaloo.
Oh my goodness!
And hit the spot.
And the fried plantain with a mug of
too much
chocolate.
Everybody remember the hot chocolate tea, the one you grate the chocolate and stuff like that. And
Ooh,
with the oil on
the top.
Yes,
Remember
yes, yes.
Wow.
Very much so, with some roast beef sandwich.
So what?
I'm vegetarian.
It's roast beef sandwich. So what happens is, for the Christmas, that's the breakfast, you have to have the original chocolate. And then so roast beef is a part of the dinner. So the following morning now, you have to have the roast beef sliced in a sandwich with another cup or a mug of hot chocolate. Original hot chocolate.
Original, yeah.
Yes.
I'm used to the hot chocolate, the one with the cream on top, so to speak. You know that
It's
one?
not cream. Isn't it oil or whatever?
It is the oil that come up on the top of it. That's the one I'm talking about.
Something is on the top. But of course, we have a lot to discuss this morning. So, of course, as we get started, we're going to get started with our devotional. And then we are going to touch on some hot topics. Hazel G will be joining us as
Absolutely.
well. We'll be having lots of fun.
Riddle me this, riddle me that, guess me this riddle and perhaps not, of course, when we come back.
Good morning. This is day 28. Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Matthew chapter 16, verse 16. The Center of History, written by Haddon Robinson. In its biographical archives, the Washington Post identifies famous people with a single vocational notice, such as home run king, or motion picture star. According to a reporter, one of these files is marked Jesus Christ, Martyr. Every individual who considers Jesus Christ makes some judgment about him. French philosopher and historian Ernest Renan said, "All history is incomprehensible without Christ." American author Ralph Waldo Emerson concluded, "His name is not so much written, but plowed into the history of the world." Kenneth Scott Latourette, former chairman of the Department of Religion at Yale Graduate School, wrote, "That short life of Jesus has been the most influential ever lived. Through him, millions have been transformed and have begun to live the life which he exemplified. Gauged by the consequences which have followed the birth, life, and death and resurrection of Jesus have been the most important events in the history of man." What label do you put on Jesus Christ? If you agree that he is who he claimed to be, then let him who is the center of history be not only the center of your creed, but also the object of your loyalty and love. Christ wants to be the center of your life, the reason for your being here on earth. He gave himself a sacrifice for you, and now he waits for you to hear his call. Our quote this morning reads, "Your decision about Jesus determines your destiny." End quote.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
We are here. Well, as you know, Friday is Family Friday, and we discuss topics that are relevant to the family. And certainly this one is no different. As Lady Ellie said earlier, it's a hot topic. And I think it is for us to tune in. Remember, we're inviting your comments, your participation, however you see fit, because it's all about us. The breakfast hour is about all of us taking part of what is prepared. This morning's topic, Lady Elise, take it away. What are we discussing this morning?
It's a topic that I think somehow I wonder if it should be a personal thing. I'm like, why is everybody talking
in my
about
business?
it? And it's one of those words, and I will share with you listeners that from a medical standpoint, and Hazel G will be joining me soon to back me up on this. In the medical field, we learn of abortion, meaning something else. The definition years ago would be the termination of pregnancy prior to 28 weeks. But there are natural causes like a threatened abortion. We will see clients who would have been having bleeding during the pregnancy. I would say it's a threatened abortion or a missed abortion where the pregnancy is not progressing, the baby is not growing, and it's not anything that is medically or what's the word, Corinne?
I'm not sure.
It means that the person did not decide.
It's not deliberate.
It's not deliberate.
It wasn't an elective.
Right. It was a medical issue, and we use the term broadly.
Okay.
Abortion, right? So it's not necessarily a word that means that someone would have gone to a facility and try to rid themselves of the pregnancy in a way that is.
So would it be correct to say that in the medical field, once the fetus has, or the pregnancy, there's cause to abort or to stop the progressing of the pregnancy, it is considered.
Right, we use the word miscarriage.
Okay, so in other words,
Yes.
it's a general term. There's no reference to why
Yes.
it is as it relates to the act terminating the pregnancy, whether it is elected or selected.
So, Michael G, this is, a topic that is certainly very interesting. Christians are talking about it. Government officials are talking about it. It's what they use on their platform. It's like a football, a political football, as we'll term it, to acquire votes. And sometimes persons would withdraw their votes because of person's stance on such a matter that one could consider personal. But of course, it is good for us to explore the concept. And as we did our research, we find out that there are so many schools of thought out there, and certainly we will explore them today.
Absolutely. Did we say hot topic?
Hot topic.
It's Family Friday, and this certainly is one for the family. So I think at this point we need to get into gear, and we're about to press gas.
Well, all right. So what we'll do here. All right. So what you talked about a while ago, I heard a conversation around the idea that it's a personal matter.
Yes.
And how personal a matter it is, we're going to find out shortly. You know, how personal is it? Is it about, here's the question, and always the topic, my body, my choice, has always been the statement being used on the front of the abortionist mind. And of course, you mentioned a while ago the idea of someone who may have had a situation of a pregnancy that might be in jeopardy or endanger the life of the mother or stuff like that. You know, we are looking at these things. So we are not mindless about it. Now, be mindful that people who are talking against abortion now do not mean or does not mean that these people were not once participants in the very thing. So, having said that, let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to be putting on the first clip for you that tells you, it's giving a tutorial of how to do an abortion and the reasons. And the reasons about an abortion, the reason an abortion is necessary. And of course, this clip is, I think it gears. Do you know what Planned Parenting is?
Well, let's find out more, and of course,
and so the Planned Parenting is a big industry that is has run these ads and some of these tutorials for a person. I'm not saying this is one of them, but some like this. All right, so let's go on.
Here to help too. So
let's
let's
start from the beginning.
am, and I'm your friendly guide through some pretty big and complicated topics. Today, I'm here to help us explore the topic of abortion. There's a lot to say about abortion, so I'm going to do my best to talk us through some of the most important facts to help make it clear and easy to understand. First off, abortion is a very personal decision, and only the person who's pregnant can know what is best for them. For anyone dealing with an unintended pregnancy, talking with a trusted adult can help to figure it all out. And I'm here to help too. So, let's start with some of the basics. When a person gets pregnant, they have 3 options. They can carry the pregnancy to term and raise the baby. They can carry the pregnancy to term and place the baby for adoption. Or they can end the pregnancy by having an abortion. You see, there are a lot of reasons a person might have for making any one of these decisions. If someone decides to get an abortion, it might be because they don't want to have a baby, or maybe they can't afford to raise a child. Maybe they're in school and they're worried they won't graduate if they have a baby.
Just pause the video. I want you to take note of the term being used to the mother of that baby. It's always constantly referred to as the person. Pregnant person, not mother. Pregnant person. Let's go again. Continue.
Baby. Sometimes people already have children and they don't want any more. And sometimes there might be something wrong with the fetus. Either it's not developing properly or it has a serious, incurable disease. Whatever the reason, it's up to the person who's pregnant to decide what's best for them. An abortion is a very safe medical procedure. There are 2 types, medication and surgical. A surgical abortion is a short 10 to 15 minute procedure that takes place at a clinic or hospital and is performed by a healthcare provider using local anesthesia. The vast majority of surgical abortions are done during the first few months of pregnancy. During this simple procedure, a healthcare provider uses gentle suction to remove the fetus from the uterus through the vagina. Most people say the procedure feels like strong menstrual cramps, and contrary to its name, no surgery is actually involved. A medication abortion is a procedure that uses pills prescribed by a healthcare provider to end a pregnancy. It can be started either in a medical office or at home. This approach is most effective during the first 3 months of pregnancy. Medication abortion consists of 2 medications that first stop the pregnancy from growing and then cause cramping and bleeding to empty the uterus through the vagina. Most people say medication abortion feels like a really heavy, crampy period. Okay, so those are the basic facts about the physical side of abortion. Now let's talk about the legal side and what you need to understand. There are many laws pertaining to abortion, and every state's laws are different. In some states, young people need their parents' permission to get an abortion. In most of these states, young people may instead seek a judicial bypass. This is when a young person goes in front of a judge to prove they're mature enough to make a decision about their unwanted pregnancy without permission from a parent. Some states allow young people to decide on their own if an abortion is right for them, with no parental involvement. Research your state's laws to better understand your rights. Abortion can be controversial, and it's something the United States has been debating for a long time. In fact, some people feel so strongly about people not having abortions that there are places called crisis pregnancy centers. There are fake clinics that exist only to try to talk a person out of having an abortion. They look and sound like real abortion clinics, so make sure you ask if they provide the services you need and want before you go to one of these fake clinics by mistake. So, while some people don't believe in abortion, others believe a pregnant person should be able to have an abortion and not be judged by others. After all, every person should be able to decide what's best for themselves, their family, and their future. I know we've covered a lot of information. Remember, if you feel confused or overwhelmed, talk to a trusted adult. And if you need to come back and watch this video again, I'll be here waiting to help explain it from the beginning.
All right. Oh man.
I mean,
wow. That was interesting.
No. Get a chance
Did you
to
get
listen
it?
to that one, Hazel G. Welcome, Hazel G. To the
Welcome,
conversation.
Hazel.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Morning, Hazel G.
Did you get a chance to listen to that conversation, Hazel G?
I have been here from a long time, watching and listening and hearing. Even if you're not hearing, I've been hearing you, both of you.
Well, welcome, Hazel. I mean, I would my reaction is I'm blown away because so me personally, I am averse to anything. Uh, I don't like to have any incision. I'm careful what I ingest, especially medication. And this seems to be almost as if it is another form of contraceptive.
Yes, it's been advertised in this way, even though it started off by saying it's a personal choice, then saying fake clinics. Be aware of those persons trying to convince you not
Hold
to.
on. So it is called crisis centers. So the
Yes.
crisis centers are now in this episode, or this dynamics talks about the crisis center as a fake clinic for, so they will talk you out of taking the baby out of this.
But then the caution is be careful that you don't end up there,
Yes.
and make sure that you ask the right questions. But before we even get to uh, the question of abortion, I remember growing up, and it was a part of school to talk about the anatomy, the cycle,
Yes.
the whole sequence of events.
Yes.
So from an early age, I understand, or it was for us as children, teenagers, I believe, because it was in high school,
Yes.
to understand the process of reproduction.
Mhm.
So for me, to see us moving, almost trying to circumvent it, is something that I need to still sort of grasp, because so my stance is there is a lot of choices that you make before you get to
Yes.
abortion.
Right.
What about the conversation around prevention, or taking the methods that would prevent you having that conversation? So for me to hear it almost trivialized is something that, in my mind, I'm still having to deal with it even before I get to the invasive process of almost, I think, impacting my body. You know, it's
We have a bigger conversation. This is where the conversation really lies. It lies where we would act. So we are going to look at the idea of how the world, because we cannot operate. All right. So we can't operate in the same frame of mind as everyone else. So we have to look at this whole scenario of what abortion is. And I understand that many persons who are Christians would have engaged in this also. Alright? I'm not excluding these things. But the beautiful thing about Christ is that there's forgiveness.
Yeah, I like a holy argument about prevention, right?
Right? I want to make this easy. 1 second. There's a forgiveness. And so there is also some principles in play that, understanding God's principles, then you would have used, then this would not be a conversation. Alright, here's what you were saying. We'll get into that later
So
on.
saying that it has a psychological effect on the person who has an abortion, because I understand it doesn't matter how long you have that abortion, it's a burden you carry for the rest of your life.
Alright, well, here's this now. The second clip we're going to show is for some ladies who they are proud abortionists. They enjoy the fact that they had their abortion. It was their right to do it, and they are now going to be shared. So share this clip with us this morning for those who are listening.
Common, isolated thing, and it's not. It needs to be shared.
After opening up to my dad, I was standing.
Not that one. Yeah, this yes.
I told someone.
Abortion is not a bad word. We can't tiptoe around and be like, abortion.
When we don't talk about it, we're putting the future in danger.
We have to say it loud, abortion, without feeling so scared to say it.
I had an abortion.
When I had my first abortion, it was kind of like any other healthcare decision.
And I didn't know that I was going to be pro-abortion until I needed an abortion.
We see abortion as this very, very uncommon.
Pause the video for me. Pause the video. Pause the video.
It needs
right
to
here.
be shared.
Right. You saw that gentleman a while ago? Or is that gentleman or is that did you see that? Is a gentleman or a woman? You see, because
Michael, be careful that you get distracted.
I'm not distracted. What I want to point out is this: that the concept of the pregnant person is not a woman.
Okay.
I suppose some men believe that they are 100% involved if you are pregnant for them.
No. Those who are talking are females, you know. All females. They're all pregnant women.
So the woman.
So the one that is looking like a man is also a pregnant woman, a pregnant person, or can get pregnant.
Yeah.
So you're looking at somebody who is a female and poses themselves as a male and call themselves a pregnant person and their mothers as well. All right.
Noted.
Go ahead. Just want to be clear what we're looking
in
at.
the kitchen with my grandma.
My friend Marion, I talked to my aunt. She's the one who actually referred me to Planned Parenthood.
And even if you don't have someone, you have the people that you're experiencing this with.
The care I received at Planned Parenthood was incredible.
The second I got there, I felt so much support.
They respected the decision. They were kind. They were compassionate.
I remember the nurse.
She held my hand the whole time.
And after my abortion, I just started living my life.
Getting an abortion made me stronger.
Whoa!
It took me a really long time to say I had an abortion, even as a doctor.
I was told this was going to be something horrible, but it felt like...
And she's crying.
It felt like I saved my life.
She's crying.
All I could feel was relief.
And I don't regret that.
It was an easy decision for me because the alternative wasn't an option.
I will tell any and everybody about my abortion.
I tell my abortion story
because
I want to normalize abortion.
Somebody out there can't tell theirs.
My story is just one story in the tapestry of abortion stories.
And I think that if a lot more people would be open and listen.
It's how we can break down those walls and have these conversations.
And I can stand up straight because who's going to tell me that my personal experience is wrong or invalid?
Even though it scared, can I say crap? Even though it scared the crap out of me, saying the word abortion,
it heals me a little bit too. The scary part is just the stigma. That's it. That's the tweet.
I'm proud to share my abortion story.
I'm proud to share my abortion story.
I'm proud to share my abortion story.
The scary part about it, the scariest part about the whole thing of abortion is the stigma attached to it. The scary part about abortion is the stigma attached to abortion, right? Listen. And so they were so, it felt so good to get rid of that thing that is causing them harm and destroying your life. There's a factor that is missing from this conversation. And those you see only women there at this point. We're going to share another clip quickly with you about persons who are for abortion and then showing a video of what abortion is and what it does, and then their reaction afterwards. But then what I want you to understand is that fathers are involved in making children. And at no time the father is mentioned of his trauma of losing his son, his daughter, or any of these things. Because of course the man is not the one who's carrying the child, and so he's not important enough to be even noted on this scale of 1 to 10. Right? And so we are looking at these things, and then you have the next part of it is young people have the right, young. This word young is not a simple word as we want to put it in. It has been weaponized. That word, young, and the concept of being young has been weaponized. Alright, let's show the clip to our listeners this morning.
Experience is ahead of you. Imagine for just a moment.
I was hoping I could show the other one. Show the next one. Show the next one for me first, before this one. Put the next one on before this one for me. Yes.
I'm more towards my body, my choice.
Everybody has a choice.
I think if it's what you need to do, then do it.
It's the woman's right to choose.
Be the choice of the woman. I do believe in women's rights.
I think that women should have the right to choose whether or not they want to abort their children.
Certain circumstances, make you have to do that.
Until childbirth.
I believe all the way up until birth.
About 8 months to after 8 months to know.
Probably the first 6 months.
Especially for abortion, if a woman's been raped or either there's incest or something like that, I think that they should have the right to make decisions about their body, their own body. Absolutely, yes.
Here's the video. I'd love your thoughts on.
You don't want to see this. That's pretty horrific. I didn't think they did it like that.
I didn't know any of that.
I never saw a video like that about how the procedure was performed. I don't agree with that.
I don't think it's right that the baby has to go through all that because someone didn't want them.
It changed my mind about the time frame there.
Do you consider yourself strongly pro-life now?
Yes. Now after watching that video, my opinion changed 100%.
I always kind of thought it was just like a little seed that they kind of scope out.
Say that your original stance on abortion has changed?
Yeah. Yes, after seeing that video, 100%. I will be against abortion, for sure, 100%.
That stage, I didn't know the child was fully developed, so that's definitely not a good stage to have an abortion.
Yeah, but the baby is always alive after conception, and that's why abortion does kill an innocent human being.
Wow, mercy.
That video, yeah.
You went from thinking abortion should be available till birth to maybe being banned at month 3.
I mean, to be completely blunt, I was kind of thrown for a loop.
Say the video changed your mind about abortion?
Yes, it did.
I'm sorry, all right?
I'm fine. My mom went through 5 abortions before she decided to keep me.
That's crazy, pulling out the limbs and stuff. Because my sister, just had a baby.
Everybody was forcing her to have an abortion, and she held her ground. And now, of course, everybody loves the baby. She had the baby.
It could have been me, you, him, anybody else walking around here.
It's not like a designer handbag. Oh, maybe I'll keep it or not. It's a life. Now I'm going to educate my friends and whoever's asking about abortion, every life deserves a life.
Life is more important. You never know what that child may become.
And don't just kind of take a life that hasn't got the chance to develop yet. I hope you guys watch the video if it's linked or anything.
And the video help change your minds all about abortion?
100%.
Text me or whatever a link to that video. I'm a high school principal.
That's a life, and they're destroying, and they haven't even got a chance to the baby to see what's life all about. They have no choice.
Mercy.
Yeah.
I'm a high school principal. Did you hear that?
No, but then what I'm getting from the video too is that people were ignorantly making
these decisions.
And the question then becomes, how prevalent is that? Do people really? Is it so?
I want to come back next week with the how many abortions are had. Thousands of abortions in a year. In fact, there's a video that I wanted us to show about the clinic that they were. I'm sorry, I didn't see. Man, that the abortion clinic at the end of the day, they would scoop up all these babies, they put them back. In fact, show the clip with the abortion being done. That one.
No.
Show that clip. Show this clip.
Recently begun, and you should imagine for just a moment that you're a baby in the womb. You're 15 weeks old. You're about the size of an apple. You've had visible fingerprints for weeks now. You have eyelids, eyebrows, eyelashes, and hair, and you can suck your own thumb. Although your life has just recently begun, and you should have an entire life of experiences ahead of you, you are unwanted. You were inside what is supposed to be the safest place in the entire world, your own mother's womb. The fluid around you that until now has been protecting you from injury and harm is being sucked out from around you. Suddenly, there's a cold metal forceps grabbing your right leg, and then it's yanked off. Limb from limb, you are being torn apart in the very womb of the mother who created you and gave you life. This is where you were supposed to be the safest and most loved.
Ew.
I'm taking a moment. Just give me a second.
You're out of breath, Orly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why, from what you're saying, it is, and what we're seeing, it is best if people have information before they make the decision, what they call informed decision.
Exactly.
I'm sure a lot of persons who do abortion, if they had seen this video, they would have done otherwise.
Yeah. You know, so again, I can share the experience of one of my aunts. So this is not an abortion, but she lost her baby. So she was pregnant, and even years, decades after, she keeps wondering what would the baby, and of course she inquired about the sex. She has 2 boys prior, and she's like, I wonder what the girl would look like now. And this is an unconscious conversation she's having to. Again, this was not her choice. It was the body expelling. And so for her, it's still, but then the point that I'm also wanting to make is she didn't choose, but psychologically, it's still there.
Did you see? Go ahead.
I say it still affected her.
Did you see those proud women crying about the fact that they made a right choice?
Well, that is
did you see that? How distraught they were?
A coping mechanism, Mikey G. I believe that persons find different way to cope with
justify,
traumatic
situation. I like the word Corinne choose to use. Justified. I like the word. That's a very keen word to pay attention to in this conversation.
Yeah, you know, and so the challenge I have is that it's an emotional decision. So if you think about the process, oftentimes it is you finding yourself pregnant and realizing that your circumstance cannot support it for whatever reason, and you're now wanting to absolve yourself of whatever responsibility bringing that child into the world is going. And so it's more emotional. It's not one, I don't know that people are seeking the necessary information because they're overwhelmed. I mean, oh, I'm pregnant, I didn't want it, I didn't plan for this. And so your conversation or your pursuit is based on that premise. I don't want it.
Here is something.
So I now need to pursue avenues to dispel myself of it. And it will be interesting, maybe or maybe not, to understand why the mindset that leads somebody to say yes or no. But again, I go back to the video that really underscores the fact that a lot of the conversation is done ignorantly. You don't know, and so you're going to take a stance without taking or seeking the necessary information.
And then, what also comes to mind as it relates to ignorance and information being shown. As we started the presentation, we recognized that the information shared gave the impression that it's just a simple procedure, and so it's not just the information, but
it's not anything.
Or, if I wanted to believe something, I will probably paint a picture that suits the narrative for you to make that decision.
Who do you know? Who do you know do stuff like that? Who do you know would be responsible for painting a picture that's not true?
We do that in every sector. Don't even go down that road, Mikey G, because then
He's talking about Satan.
Well, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. Here's Eve standing at the tree. God says, if you eat of this fruit, you shall surely die. This gentleman says, you shall not surely die. God is lying. God is lying. And that picture was painted, and guess what Eve did? Eve yanked into it. She yanked into it. Now,
it sounds so plausible. It sounds okay. You know,
yes.
It doesn't sound.
When you leave,
it doesn't. The detriment of his statement would not have been realized because it's mere conversation.
It's mere conversation. When you leave the men out of these decisions, they are going to be bad ones.
Yes.
Bad decisions.
No, you know, again, for me, it's a bigger picture, Mikey G, because it's not just the men who are left out of it. It's the information in a big way. So a lot of times, and you've heard of situations, and it is legal because we have case law to support one side or the other. You know, and the truth is that a lot of times you see women going into, because they are looking for the immediate response or the treatment, to the detriment of the long term.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you two texts to read. I want to read Genesis chapter 3 and verse 16. I think it's 16. And then I'm going to be looking at two texts because I think our time is running fast. We have one more video we want to show, but I don't know if we can get it in. I want to show you where the protection of God placed after sin. After Eve, that woman took that thing and ate it. God placed her in the protection and the care of the man again, to prevent her from doing something that would harm herself and the unborn child. Let's go to Genesis 3:16. Maybe that's where it is. Can you find it for me, somebody?
Yeah.
And then I want somebody to find also another text, because we are running fast. I think our time is almost done. And we don't want to overextend ourselves.
3:16.
I want somebody with Jeremiah 1 verse 4 and 5 afterwards. We're going to be looking at that, but let's go. It should talk about woman being in labor. Is that the text?
The Genesis 3:16. I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing.
Yes.
In pain.
Yes, that's the one. Go ahead.
In pain you shall bring forth children, your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall.
Can we read that again. Can we use the King James version when we read? Because I'm going to come back with the Bible another time, and I'm going to show you in next week. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about planned parenting and what it does, and then we're going to talk about the Bible and its involvement and how it corrupts itself, and how people have been trying to corrupt the Bible to talk and confirm these horrific events. All right, so next week we want to come back and do that one. But read it again for me, that the listeners can get
the
this.
King James version says, yes. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow, yes, and thy conception.
Yes.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband,
yes, desire,
and he shall rule over you.
All right,
well,
rulership. Don't go no further yet. Hold on, don't move yet. Rulership. What does rulership mean? Sound like to you? Anybody?
Ruling, to have dominion.
And what is that? What does that look like in your mind? Anybody can come in. I have 3 females here with me this morning.
You probably want us to say.
No. Don't start like that, please. I do not want you to say anything. I want you to say what you think.
We know. No. What rulership look like? I don't have another adjective for rulership more than rulership, unless you want to talk about dictatorship.
And you saw rulership as dictatorship. All right, next person. Anybody? Just say it. Go ahead.
Well, I think my dominion didn't land. So, Lady Ennis.
I mean, having dominion, just leadership. That's it.
It's leadership. Well, all right. Here's another word. We just substituted the word ruler for leadership. All right, go ahead. Let me hear it.
I think we're waiting, Michael. So you see, it's for you to come.
No. But I want you to hear it. All right. When you go to work, do you go to work and there's somebody in charge who rules that office or wherever you go?
Yes.
Is there a government in place that rules the land?
Yes.
You have two types of leadership or rulership. What type you have?
Democratic and autocratic.
Autocratic.
And one of them can be oppressive and one can be?
Well, I don't know that. Anyone?
No, I'm not talking about democratic or autocratic. I'm talking about leadership in the sense that somebody can be very oppressive in doing it or very loving in doing it.
Yes.
When you're voting in a government to rule over you, you vote in a government in the understanding that they will not oppress you. Is that true?
You will have a voice.
And you will have a voice. You will have democracy. You'll be able to speak and be able to live in peace and harmony and in safety. Isn't that all the things that you vote for in rulership? All right, I want to say this then. We are having a little bit of stuff. I want to just make the point because we can't stretch this too much. I want you to read the next one, but I want to say this quickly. When God used the word rule, it simply means protection. Protect her from her very self. This was a perfect woman in the Garden of Eden who did not know sin. And that's what she did. I'm not saying women are careless. I'm saying that the power that women possess and the enemy knows, he will use. She's the one who carries the unborn child and the protector of that child until he's born or she's born. And the enemy is attacking our women. And the story is to leave the men out of the decision making and then now corrupting the men to consider the idea of even killing the child now because it might make more sense. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we are looking at tainted human beings making very flawed decisions. And the God factor has been missing the whole time.
Yeah. Jeremiah?
Yes, Jeremiah 1 verse 4 and 5. Let's hear what God thinks about the unborn child and how he thinks about us not even coming into existence.
Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations.
Question for you this morning, and I want to ask this question to the panel and all of us right here, myself. Can a Christian endorse abortion?
Should.
No, well, not should. Can a Christian be involved in this thing?
So I will want to think it through because as
I just read Jeremiah.
Hold on, but I would want us to think it through because remember that we also have to be cautious in how we have a conversation without looking at the different perspectives. Because remember, when we started the conversation, abortion was defined in its general way, terminating a pregnancy. So the question is,
from a pregnant person, not a woman, from a pregnant person, not a woman.
Is it okay for a woman to terminate her pregnancy? And I think maybe the first response would be no, right? And again, I think we have to frame it that we're talking about the voluntary element of abortion. So taking from the general definition, our conversation is more around, is it okay for you to voluntarily terminate your pregnancy?
And use it as a contraceptive.
Correct. But I will not add that, and I'll tell you why. Because I've heard of circumstances where, for medical reasons, that is where you would want to land it. So remember that for each stage your doctor is giving you advice as to where you are, how is the pregnancy progressing, and there may be a medical consideration that the doctor is going to say that this child is not developing. Would you then say that that is an abortion if the suggestion or the directive from the doctor is to terminate it?
And there are times too when the child die in utero. Are you going to allow the child to stay in there and kill you?
But that's a different thing. That's all a different thing now. I would listen to that conversation that you just made, KZG, to say that it is now common sense.
Okay.
And it's just common sense now. It's not you killing a child or trying to abort the child, but you're trying to remove a child that has been terminated or self-terminated. I'm going to be next week when we come back. We want to have the conversation around this idea of, is abortion like a hospice clinic that helps mothers or persons die? You know, next week we want to look at that and see what this is.
Before we go, I'm going to continue on the conversation about that Corley talk about the doctor's advising you on the way.
Yes.
I know at least 2 persons that was advised by the doctor that they should abort the child. They are saying that the child would have become a mongrel. I can't forget the term that is used right now, mongrel, right? And one of them told me that the doctor, after they did the test, the doctor told her, she asked her, "Oh, what is the possibility of having a child?" And they say, a mongrel. And they say that it is 99%. And she said, "Well, I will give the 1% to God. He's able."
Amen.
And the child born and that is so brilliant. Nothing like what they were telling her.
We have always not stopped to hear God's intent. Read Jeremiah again. Read Jeremiah again. Read Jeremiah 1 verse 4 and 5 again. Please read it again. Read it again.
I don't want so
just read it again. Just read it again. Just read it again, please. Just read it again.
What did I do?
As Christians, I'm not speaking as persons with the world view. I'm not talking as somebody who would have done this thing before understanding it. I'm not talking about somebody who might have participated in this without being a Christian or even a Christian and don't understand God's principle. This is just something I'm talking about, right? Read Jeremiah chapter 4 again and 5. Just read it one more time.
So it's Jeremiah 1, 4 and 5.
Yes, yes.
Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Before I formed you. I mean, you were not formed yet and you were a person. That's God. That's God's perspective of us. How dare me? And I tell you, I don't want to find myself liable for anything or say anything that might cause me any harm, but I'm telling you, I sit here and I feel disrupted in my mind continually. Just finish that. Finish it. Finish it.
And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet.
You know what sanctified? You know what was sanctified again? Oh, there's 2 times the Bible speaks of this now. He sanctified the Sabbath. What does that mean? He hallowed it and sanctified it. What it mean? What does it mean, sanctified? You are sanctified. What does that mean? You know, and we don't want to make this thing a casual thing. I know the storyline of the idea of all the conversation. Next week we're going to come with a conversation of different reasons why persons terminate children. And we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to have that conversation, why people do it and how we understand it. And we're going to still look at it from a Christian perspective. Can Christian or should Christians be a part of the abortion story?
Well, if that is a question or if it is rhetorical, I will make an attempt. So, again, there are different facets. So the Bible is very clear that every birth is preordained.
Preordained. Preordained. Right? Not just not just because it is happening. It was before it happened.
And so the concept of knowledge is one that I would want to bring back to the fore, because oftentimes decisions are made based on emotions. And so I really appreciate the story that Hazel told about God, because it is endorsing Jeremiah to say, don't use even science to determine, but if you put it to God and allow God to make the decision. I want to hasten to say that knowledge too means being able to support those persons who, for whatever reason, they made a decision to.
Yes.
We need to be the church.
Right.
Restore them.
Yes.
Because it's an emotional still, because it's emotion that drove them to make the decision. There's going to be emotion that is going to cause them to need to deal with it after. So the church needs to be there as a support as well to make that. So again, it's not judging the person, it's restoring that person so that they are aware that it is not going to be the be all and end all. There is recourse in Jesus.
All right, I think
I like that, Corley, because there's a lot of persons that are suffering.
Yes.
Will not say it because they know the stake. They know the judgment that is going to be made on them. So they're suffering and they're not going to talk.
Well, here's where we want to be. We want to be the people. Because remember, we always like to place the church as this vulnerable little place that everybody is just sick and dying. Yes, but we should be healing, be getting better. And as we get better, we try to make better for others as well. We don't try to normalize the chaos and the anarchy. And so if we continue to say that this hospital won't make better persons, better patients, then we would have a dead house working in a morgue. Right?
No.
And so we don't want to be working in a morgue. We want to be working in a hospital that makes patient better. So once you come into God's presence, into the church of God, not the building as we want to refer to so many times. The church is the people that are getting better and growing in strength and healing from these hurts, abortion, all sorts of hurts, all sorts of situations. Persons who are anything and everything are getting better. We want to say that everyone have a place to heal as well. And this is somewhere where we want the church to be a safe place for persons who are having these conversations and these situations to heal from it and to know that God still love and God don't like. And so when somebody's making a decision, even young persons within the church, as it is being weaponized as we are listening to it, will now learn, because it's taught that God don't want you to be involved in any activity that will bring children outside of marriage, right? And that's where the conversation needs to be.
Absolutely. I think it is also prudent, Michael, for us to hear the man's voice. You
want to hear the men, what the men think.
Yes. Made mention of it, that the whole idea of that there's a voice. We need to also bring to the fore the side of the men, so that there is balance. So you spoke about how it affects them as well. So we need to use this platform to bring both sides.
Let me add myself.
Us.
It affects us. Can you imagine you being married and then your wife terminate the pregnancy saying she don't want to have another child?
Yeah.
This is not a situation where you know is having an unwanted pregnancy, as many persons are saying. You're now married and the wife is saying, I do not want to carry this child because I don't feel like I don't want to carry another one. And not that you have 10 already and it's going to jeopardize your life. You just don't want it. That's what we talk. It's going to mess with my life because I want to live my life now. I've had my 2 kids or 3 and now I want to live my life. I don't want no children to tie me down.
Yeah, as you talk about the church and how we should treat them, what about when the young girl got pregnant in church as a church member and the boy is also from the church? Who is the one that the
This fellowship.
No, but here's where I understand the concept, User G.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a true statement. You know, because I was disfellowship myself, you know.
You are?
No. The girl wasn't disfellowship because she wasn't a part of the church. I was disfellowship. Alright? And that's it. No, I understand what that means. That's another situation. No, that's another situation altogether. I will tell you that I have lots of experience with a lot of things. I don't feel bad about the idea that they disfellowship me now. I felt bad then. But when I see my son, every time I see him, I really love him more every day, you know? So I will not, and I won't tell you all the stories along the line, but this is a story that is beyond. So when I speak on these matters, I don't speak because I am untouched by it. I am aware of what these things can do. And so I think, yes.
I think the point Hayes is making, Michael, is that the weaponizing of abortion is almost seen to be endorsed. The church, and I mean, bear me out, it's almost like the church is endorsing it because if it is that she gets rid of it, then she can still function in church. But if she brings it, then the church is going to scorn her or shun her. And so the education, ignorance is something that is maybe the greater weapon, I believe, because if we're doing things out of emotion, how the church is going to look, then you're going to have more of those women, young people, who are going to make a decision based on the fact that they want to remain in this closed group. They want to still remain a part of the group.
I want to say this. There is a culture, a set of person, and it's biblical people, that when you get married, there's a white sheet that is placed on the bed. A white sheet is placed on the bed. This is a new wed. And if that white sheet don't get smeared, the parents of that couple is going to now say that this marriage is null and void. It is not anymore a marriage. So the church, when last do you hear a sermon being preached or emphasized on the idea of sex outside of marriage? I don't know if you have heard it. A long time I haven't heard one. I don't hear the aura of it being something suggested that this is an action that we need to talk about a lot. It's been somewhere sidelined. I don't know. This is just my version of it. If you heard it before, you tell me. When last have you heard a sermon or somebody? There's a program that teaches do not get involved before having sex, before having marriage on your table, young ladies especially, because the boys will not get pregnant.
No, I will object to that strongly, Michael, because the Bible is not for the female, it's for both. And that is the point I was going to make, that a lot of times those conversations are focused on the women and not the men. So the men can go there and sow their oats, right? But because there's no evidence he is okay, that is also detrimental, right? But however, we're talking about abortion, and I think we're at the stage where we need to sort of bring it home, and I believe we would have touched on other elements that certainly we need to have a conversation.
Here's where I go. Here's something I want to say. That the idea of when I made the statement, it's a deterrent also. Not that the men should involve themselves in the activity, but you should be teaching how to be a wife and how to be a husband. Two things that are very important. Now, these things are not seemingly. While it is mentioned many times, oh, you're getting married, there are cultures that you cannot get married unless you're a virgin. You will not get any husband. You will not get a husband. And this is something that people are saying, that is unfair. That's unfair. No, but, we touched on the topic, no bastard, no there again. And the Michael Manley story of saying, normalizing it. And Michael Manley, by reason, did a good job of saying, no bastard, no there again, for the policies that were implemented for the children that were born out of wedlock. Because people were engaged in it who were not necessarily Christians, or even if they were, they did something very evil, right? But then the child must not suffer for what the parents do. This is a big topic. But what we are saying is, the thinking must be, if we can ever get back to, we always want to get back to the Garden of Eden when it needs food and diet. But everything else you can leave it as it is.
Again, it's a wide conversation. There's a lot of things that spins from just the main topic of abortion, and I think it's for us to understand, well, just to share with our listeners that it is the emotional element of it is something that we also want. I think it is prudent for us to explore as well. So the act has been completed, but how does it affect you going forward? So that could be another topic that we'll explore. What we did today is to look at abortion and look at the conversations around it. In summing it up, it is not a personal decision. It affects so many other persons, and so it also cannot be about an emotion. It cannot be a knee-jerk thing based on the fact that the repercussions live on long before or long after. And I also like the fact that the reference to the Bible, that God preordained the life, and if we embolden ourselves with getting information, getting counseling. And I will go back to my first point. The abortion conversation should be preceded by preventative, what allow people to be aware of what's going to happen. So these young people who are running around, they are going through changes in their bodies and emotions are running wild. The conversation needs to be had at that point so that they understand what happens when a man and a woman have intercourse. The likely outcome of it is not just the 5 minutes of enjoyment. You can have a life that is produced. So it's also for us to focus on the strength of that education, as opposed to just focusing on the outcome and trying to treat it as another means of contraceptive. My 2 cents.
Elise and ESG, please make the last. Well, let's wrap it up. Go ahead, make a statement.
Yeah, I think education is done in the schools, but the church itself need to be doing education, because they probably just concentrate on the diseases, the HIV and the what have you, but there's more consequences than diseases.
Awesome.
Elise, your final topic, final words on the matter.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made. Before we were even made, the Lord preconceived what we were going to be. So it's not an accident for you to be born. You are created by God, and you are loved, and you are His child. So let us think about that.
Amen.
Elise, I think it's your turn to say what.
And it's also important for us to, when we speak about being informed, all knowledge comes from God, and unless we immerse ourselves in what the Word of God says, then we will get perspectives from so many other places that seem correct and seem believable, but the information that we receive must be from God's Word.
Amen.
And of course, it's also important, as Corley Karen mentioned, that we provide a space and a place that people can feel, even if they have this traumatic situation that they're dealing with. Yes. Let's listen to theoretically know, as sometimes we go as Christians and we study the Bible and we know all the rules and all the laws and what the Bible says, but to step out boldly and say, this is what I believe. And not only that, you're going to tell us more about this organization that you're formed in Jamaica, and tell me, what is the mission? Tell me more about what this organization is about.
Great. So yes, the Love March movement is a youth Christian organization for sexual purity and the family. And our goal is to be a voice for biblical values on a national platform, raising up a generation that would be bold and committed to the truth of God, and also that a generation that will be empowered to fight for sexual purity and the family. So we are by nature just a very bold organization. I mean, it started when I was in my final year at university in my first degree, about to go into medical school. A number of us came together and said, there are some changes taking place in our society. We are not going to wait until the pastors feel like doing things. We hear the call of the Lord to speak up. We're going to come together as university young people and march in the streets for sexual purity and let the government know that we're not gonna back down. We will not be bought out. We will not change our biblical stances related to fornication, related to homosexuality, related to living a life of purity. Right? At that time in 2012, there was the kind of feeling among the leaders of government and I guess some NGOs and government partners that Christians in Jamaica were just very chill and relaxed, and we're not going to care about the relaxation of different laws and standards. But we smashed that narrative and we said we are here to serve Jesus. We are wholeheartedly committed to the principles of the Word of God because we love Him. So we had the first Love March at that time. And so the organization has taken on more and more form, right? We do a lot of, so it's two legs. Advocates with three-leg approach to family, you know, the negative impacts of that also deal.
All right. I think we can we can't get any better than this. I think we can.
All right, so I just wanted to share with you that there are still persons, young persons, who are on the church. People are not all sleeping. There are persons who are speaking out and having a conversation, and not only speaking out against, but providing a space for persons to heal and also to have the discussion. And so as we get out of studio, I know the time is far spent. It's a wide discussion, and certainly we have learned so much from the conversation, and the fact that persons are going through so much, and the information that we have as individuals too is relevant, our own experiences. So don't just take it in isolation. Reach out to someone who is probably trying to make a decision and be actually a support, not only in words but in action. And so a lot to say. Of course, we have to share a few things before we get out of studio. Of course, Hayes is set to share the answer to the riddle as promised, because we had at least two answers in the group. One says 9 and one said family.
All right, so let me say my last piece, and then I'll get into that. One quick one. I just want to say this: that abortion is not a contraceptive, and that's what I want to say. And so, by treating it as such, we have taken the wrong approach already. My body, my choice is not a correct stance. Next week, we want to look at that story, and we want to bring some information. What about the men who are fathers of these children? Next week. And of course, we want to explore more about the church. Can you be for abortion in the sense that it's a contraceptive, my body, my choice? All right, let's get into that. It is your time. Sorry.
All right, so of course I must share before we get out the Davis's family's funeral announcement for Maurice Davis. The service will be held on the 29th of March 2025, 11 a.m. at the All Nation Pentecostal Church located in Georgetown, Grand Cayman. So please reach out, be supportive to the family, and of course we continue to keep them in prayers. Hazel G shared a video of her being surprising and so certainly although a funeral is something sad, you find that that's the time that family members get a chance to reconnect. It's unfortunate that it's those times that you know you say, oh, and sometimes it's the first time you see some family members you have never seen them before. And
I can testify.
It's a sad thing to see, it is. That only when funerals are around is when everybody remind themselves that it's time for family reunion.
Yes.
It's a very bad thing. But we want to say condolences to the family. I want to say condolences to my friend Moya. That's all I want to say this morning. The family, children. I know this little man very well. I could consider him a friend, and I want to. I also want to say condolences also to a friend of mine who is also going to be having a funeral service on Saturday. We were at what you call a night last night. I was there. I did some stuff with them and set up, so to speak. So I want to say to the family, condolences to you, and of course we have you in our prayers. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, Hazel G, please take it away, the Riddle Master.
Okay, before I get to that, can I give a birthday shout out to someone?
Yes,
absolutely.
Shout out to Elder Sasha Jumpen, who's celebrating her birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday.
Well, I have to say happy birthday to Sister Shashai Duncan this morning. Good morning. Yes, I mean, happy birthday to you as well. From Mikey G right here at Flashpoint and the team.
All right, good. Thank you. Okay, so can we get that?
The jingle.
Look at that. Do we have it?
Yes, we have it.
Thank you. Because this, will you give me that? Yes, this the answer to the rigor. Drum roll.
All right.
Is 9.
9 what?
9. I think that was the first answer.
Correct.
So we had quite a few persons who won that riddle because I think Cassandra did also. She said 9 as well.
Okay.
Cassandra, the first one who answered.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. All right. You know something? I'm going to give you all one now. Give you all one now. This one is from Mikey. Which is the most expensive liquid?
Most expensive liquid? Oh my God, I don't know, man. You're trying to bowl me this morning. Well, all right. The alabaster box liquid.
All right. You think about it over the weekend and come back.
All right. Well, here's one for you guys before you go. I'm gonna give you one. Only 4 women will be in heaven.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah. Which 4?
Remember that. You know what? I want to share.
Only 4 women will be in heaven. I want you to tell me which 4 women will be in heaven. Only 4. No.
Jesus.
Only 4.
So you're suggesting that the rest of heaven will be filled with men? Mikey G. I know.
Well, guess what? Let's put it this way. Let's say it like this. If it makes you feel better. Only 4 women will make it into heaven. Now they will be filled with men, but only 4 women will be making it into heaven. Which 4 are those?
On that note, Mikey G, we're gonna just share this short birthday song.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just give you the answer right now. The answer is faith, hope, mercy, joy, and grace.
How you determine that they are females?
Because all the faith. Don't you know a female named Faith? Grace?
No, I am not accepting that because then
do you have a brother named Grace? Do you have a brother named Grace?
However, when you got the I get more than 4.
I know that the Lord extend His grace to me.
All right. Anyways,
He sent a lady to me.
there it is. There it is. Only these 4 women: faith, hope, mercy,
Yes, let's
joy, and grace. I know Joy. Joy goes to Ebenezer. Joy goes to Ebenezer. I know her. He's going to.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Elder Sashoy. I am sure that you will have an awesome day because you're going to make it your own. You're going to make sure that nothing deters you from enjoying your special day. And it almost the counter to what we were discussing, abortion. The fact is that God has given you life and you're allowed to see another year. So
I have a question I could ask right now, but I don't want to ask.
All right, don't ask it, Mikey G, because only faith, hope, grace, and joy. I'm gonna ask
On that note, I want to say a special good day, a special fabulous Friday to all our listeners, and go out and enjoy the weekend. The news is coming up, Mikey G. The news is coming up. But I just want to wish you all the best. May the Lord bless you abundantly, more than you can ever ask, think, or imagine. Coming up is going to be the open portal this evening. And of course, Sensational Sunday on Sunday will feature a special feature on the Manor Foundation, the Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist Church. And Corey, Karen, and I will be hosting, yes,
of course,
Sensational Sunday. That's this Sunday at 3 p.m. You cannot afford to miss that one.
All right, with that note, our final words, I guess, Izzy, you want to say your final words and we get out of here?
Yes, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you as you enter into another Sabbath.
Praise the Lord.
All right, news time, guys. It comes up right after these messages. News is brought to you by Asai Ultrasound for all your ultrasound needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands. I want to thank you, listeners, for joining us and sharing with us. And of course, next week we're going to talk a little bit more about planned parenting and how that thing works. All right? Let's go with that.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
And these are the news headlines on Flashpoint Radio. I'm Coralie Karen. Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman Candidates Forum Key Takeaways. The Second Sister Islands Forum, hosted by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce, featured Cayman Islands National Party candidate Nicholas DaCosta and independent candidate Lonnie Tibbetts. Both candidates are vying for the Cayman Brac West and the Little Cayman seat, to be vacated by Moses Kirkconnell. DaCosta emphasized the need for sustainable job creation, economic growth, and investment in education. Quote, "We must create sustainable jobs, a thriving economy, and support and invest in education and training for our young people coming out of our schools so that they can build meaningful lives without having to leave their home," end quote, he said. Tibbetts highlighted his desire to bring a fresh perspective, declaring, quote, "We want things better, we deserve better, and I'm here tonight to tell both the listening audience as well as the citizens of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman that if you give me that opportunity, I will work night and day to make that a reality," end quote. On the topic of the Brac High School, both candidates supported the project. DaCosta acknowledged the outdated conditions of the current school building, but stressed the importance of ensuring cost efficiency. Tibbetts expressed pride in the government's efforts to advance the project and emphasized the need for technical and vocational training within the new facility. Insurance industry adds $233 million to Cayman economy. A major study has revealed that the insurance industry contributes $233 million annually to the Caymanian economy. On this amount, $136 million goes to legal, accounting, and compliance sectors, while $18 million is paid in government fees. Kieran McGeegan, chairman of the Insurance Managers Association of Cayman, stated, quote, "The findings of this study underscore the critical role that international insurance and reinsurance play in our financial services sector and the broader Cayman economy," end quote. The study also found that the sector employs 256 people, nearly half of whom are Caymanians. Additionally, more than $200,000 is allocated annually to training Caymanians overseas alongside a local training budget of $112,000. In regional news, U.S. Secretary of State pledges support in Caribbean anti-gang efforts. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Jamaica this week, committing to assist the Caribbean in combating organized crime and the illicit firearms trade. Addressing regional leaders, Blinken acknowledged that the majority of gun crimes in the Caribbean involved weapons originating in the U.S. Last year, reports indicated that 75% of firearm-related offenses in the Cayman Islands could be traced back to American gun sales. Blinken's visit focused on security, trade, energy, and immigration, as well as the ongoing crisis in Haiti. He emphasized the U.S.'s intent to strengthen its role in the Caribbean, which it considers its third border. Trinidad and Tobago's PM discusses energy security with U.S. officials. Prime Minister Stuart Young met with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Jamaica to discuss Trinidad and Tobago's energy future, specifically the Dragon Gas project. He assured that Following discussions, he was confident that, quote, no harm, end quote, would come to Trinidad and Tobago's energy prospects under current U.S. policies. Young emphasized the importance of the Dragon gas deal for both Trinidad and Tobago and the wider CARICOM region. While the U.S. has yet to finalize discussions regarding the project, Young noted that Blickman was receptive and assured him that U.S. policy was not intended to negatively impact Trinidad and Tobago's energy security. Young confirmed that discussions on extending the country's OFAC license for the project would continue, with all parties moving full speed ahead. For your news headlines on Flashpoint Radio, please continue to stay tuned for more updates throughout the day.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4, Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Alright, we want to thank you this morning for joining us for this morning's episode of The Breakfast Hour. I hope and trust that you are healed. There's so much to talk about. So many things that we did not say. But importantly, that's so many things that we did say. And so much came out of this conversation. You can add your comments. And of course, later on, we will have the next episode on Friday next week, which is Family Friday. We'll talk a little bit more about children, your family, our family, and how we would protect them through the principles of the Almighty God. Alright? So that's what we want to do. Apply biblical principles, not worldview. But look at what the enemy. When we see these things, we must see how cunning the enemy has been. God has provided us the medium through which to continue life, and the enemy is trying to show you how much you should destroy life. We're going to bring back some stories for you next week about how the abortion clinics operate and some of the atrocities that happens while these things happen. Some workers who stop working do not want to continue working at all at these clinics anymore after realizing the evil that's happening. Alright, guys, have yourself a good day. It's All Gospel Friday. Continue to listen to Flashpoint. And of course, remember, keep it locked right here. Like, share, subscribe. And of course, hit the notification bell that whenever time a program like this comes on, you get it first. Have yourself a good day.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd, just you and me together. We'll all sing better outside, just us in the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this a fate? At least now I'm feeling better, I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd, just you and me together. We'll all sing better outside, just us in the sky.
Yourself a flashpoint day. Start your breakfast the flashpoint way and cruise through lunch and then to dinner. With Flashpoint Radio. Flashpoint Radio is a class. Flashpoint Radio for gospel, inspiration, motivation, and meditation. Anywhere you go, take Flashpoint with you. Flashpoint